Opens Meeting Act, which is posted on the west wall of the meeting room and accessible to members of the public. Will you please stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, starting with the consent agenda. Do I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approve the consent agenda as presented, including approval of minutes of the regular Board of Education meeting on June 12, 2023, approval of the proposed accounts for payment, approval of budgetary receipts and expenditures for June 2023, approval of Committee of the Whole minutes for June 22, 2023, approval of option students, and approval of contract for Emily Zorn's kindergarten at Lincoln.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Any discussion, any items you would like to pull off the consent agenda? Okay, Jason, do you have a treasurer's report?
I do. So general and fund expenses for the month of June, payroll is down a little bit as a reflection of not having as many classified staff working during the summer. $1,731,815.55. Bills were $245,569.44, which brought total expenses to $1,977,385.02. General fund revenue for the month was $1,367,778.04. Just quick reminder, we now have 2 months of the budget cycle remaining. July and August, and so typically those are pretty lean revenue months because state aid payments will stop. The state aid payments are broken into 10-month cycles, so they'll stop now. And we will have some larger expenses coming in yet in preparation for next year. We have the asphalt patch out at the high school, the final asphalt that will be being replaced. I think next week they'll start and finish that, and then also we have miscellaneous textbooks, supplies, materials that will be coming in that we'll be paying on as well.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All right, can I have your votes, please? And motion passes. Next up, the information portion. Board reports, Committee of the Whole. Doris.
The meeting started with administrators all giving updates on changes to their handbooks, and then we spent the bulk of them. Also, Dr. Nielsen gave an update on the strategic plan, and then we spent the rest of the meeting discussing changes to policy as a result of recent legislation. That ends my report.
Okay, thank you, Doris. Next up is public forum, citizens' requests for comments, and seeing we have no requests, we will move on to the discussion portion of the agenda, which will include all of the policies we discussed at the Committee of the Whole meeting. Mr. Alexander.
All right, so after review of all the policies at the Committee of the Whole meeting, I don't see any reason to present them and go through them one by one again. All of the red line updates that we showed you have been made in the policies, so they are ready to go. We did create a synopsis for you that you have in front of you that outlines each policy, including the attendance policy and excessive absenteeism policy, which we have to review by state statute, and the anti-bullying policy that we have to review by state statute. So kind of outlines everything that is involved in those policies. You can utilize that to cross-reference between now and the August meeting, which we will consider second reading. If you have questions or concerns or anything that comes up, that way you can feel free to reach out to us. This synopsis will also be available in the board office for any patrons if they so choose to come in and get one. Reminder that all of these policies have come to us reviewed, updated, and cross-referenced with legal statute by Perry Law Firm, who is the school's legal counsel.
And I think, Jason, maybe just remind the public, a majority, or if not all of the changes were due to the legislative session.
Correct.
Any questions, comments related to policies? Okay, we will move on to the action portion. First up, approval of the interlocal contract for enrichment activities. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approve the interlocal contract for enrichment activities with ESU 18 for the 2023-24 school year.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Motion by Doris. Mr. Alexander.
Yeah, just briefly, the ESU 18 thing, not to throw you for a loop, this is one of the services that ESU does not provide for us, so we contract through ESU 18, and it's an annual contract we do with SNRP to provide hearing services assistance as needed. They provide hearing aids when we need them, audiologists, and et cetera, that is no cost to the district. So, but we do have to have an agreement to enter into services with them.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Any questions, comments? All right, seeing none, can I have your votes, please? And motion passes. Next up, reaffirm safe return plan. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 reaffirm the safe return plan.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Dr. Nielsen.
Okay, because we are still utilizing ESSER funds, we have to reaffirm the safe return to learn plan. We are not recommending any changes at this point in time, so we are just reaffirming it. And we'll be back in 6 months to do the same.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments? All right, seeing none, can I have your votes, please? And motion passes. Next up, reaffirm policy 5416, student fees and appendix 5416. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 reaffirm policy 5575 student fees and AR 5575.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Mr. Alexander.
So in the hearing, as noted, the student fees were presented to you. We have 2 corrections to add. Cross-country and tennis need to be added to the list, so we will get them added. So with that motion, I would add cross-country and tennis be added to that. Outside of that, the hearings, the fees are what they are and that were presented earlier.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, can I have your votes, please? Motion passes. Next up, reaffirm policy 6400, parental community involvement in schools. Do I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 reaffirm 6400 parental community involvement in schools.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Mr. Alexander.
Again, by requirement, by statute to have the hearing, now after going through the hearing and seeing the policy, we need a formal vote to affirm the policy as it stands.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, can I have your votes, please? Motion passes. Next up, reaffirm policy 6410, Title I, parental and family engagement policy. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 reaffirm policy 6410, Title I, parental and family engagement policy.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric, or Mr. Alexander.
Again, just what Mrs. Reppel covered in the family engagement policy, a formality that has to be covered according to state statute. So now that you've seen that, affirmation in the action section is needed.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, can I have your votes, please? And motion passes. Next up, approval of addendum to first student contract. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approve the addendum to the contract with First Student for the 2023-24 school year.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Mr. Alexander.
Okay, so we're waiting on this contract to come from First Student. We were hoping to get it today. We were told it would be sent to us today, but it has not arrived. So we would have to amend that motion to table it to the next meeting if we could, please.
Okay, do we need to vote on the original motion first? Can we amend that?
You can just make an amendment to the original motion to table this item.
I move, go ahead. I move that we table the approval of the addendum to the first student contract.
Okay, we have an amendment to the motion to table amendment to the first student contract. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Can I have your votes, please? And the amendment to table the motion is passed. Okay, next up, approval of the 2023-24 classified staff handbook. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approve the 2023-24 classified staff handbook.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Dr. Nielsen? And or Jason?
Yeah, so again, similar situation with the handbooks that you have in front of you. We created basically a synopsis sheet for you that outlines all the changes that we covered at the committee of the whole meeting. So again, in the essence of time and not having to repeat all of those, they're there for you. And if there's any questions, we would sure answer them at this time, but they're the same updates that you saw before in the handbook changes. Also in front of you for the certified handbook is the comp time policy that we've settled on that will be watermarked addendum to the handbook and attached to the back side of it, and we'll go through that on the first day of school with teachers when they come back.
And again, most of these changes were due to legislative
Correction.
Correct. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, can I have your votes, please? The motion passes. Next up, approval of the 2023-24 substitute handbook. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approve the 2023-24 substitute handbook.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Any other comments? Seeing none, can I have your votes, please? Motion passes. Next up, approve the 2023-24 certified staff handbook. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approve the 2023-24 certificated staff handbook 2.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Any other questions? Seeing none, can I have your votes, please? Motion passes. Next up, approve the 23-24 Beatrice High School handbook. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approve the 2023-24 Beatrice High School handbook.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Any questions? Seeing none, can I have your votes, please? Motion passes. Next up, approve the 23-24 Beatrice Middle School handbook. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approves the 2023-24 Beatrice Middle School handbook.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Any other questions? Seeing none, can I have your votes, please? Motion passes. Next up, approval of the 23-24 elementary handbook. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approves the 2023-24 Beatrice Elementary handbook.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Any other questions? Seeing none, can I have your votes, please? Motion passes. Next up, approve the 23-24 Beatrice Community Preschool handbook. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approve the 2023-24 Beatrice Community Preschool handbook.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Any questions? Seeing none, can I have your votes, please? Motion passes. Next up, discuss, consider, and take all necessary action with regard to appropriation of funds for a real estate purchase from the district and authorizing a lease agreement with the Southeast Nebraska Education Agency for a new elementary school building and equipment and related matters. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 hereby ratifies, confirms, and reaffirms the lease dated June 1st, 2022 with the Southeast Nebraska Education Agency as more specifically provided in the attached resolution incorporated into this motion by reference.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Mr. Alexander.
Okay, so just a quick reminder, tried to provide this to you ahead of time as well, but this item is part of the agreement with the Southeast Nebraska Education Agency that was established, and the district agreed to adopt as a resolution each year, confirming the 7-year lease process for building the preschool, and also making sure that or the preschool through 5th grade, and making sure that it's in lease agreement on the new elementary school. So accordingly, attached is the resolution for the Board of Education to adopt to extend that lease, and we'll do that every year. We had to do it last year in June. We'll have to do that every year for the next 7 years as we continue to go. So the form was attached to the lease agreement. This is not a new document to the board. It's the same agreement last year, just reaffirming it for the coming year.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Any questions? All right, seeing none, can I have your votes, please? The resolution passes. All right, Administrator's report. Superintendent report, Mr. Alexander.
I'll be brief tonight. We've covered a lot of ground with the policies and so forth, so we continue. Preparations for the start of school continue. It's right around the corner. August 2nd, I believe, August 1st is the first day with new teachers. So they will be here that week. The following week, we kick off the school year with all the rest of the staff coming back, so excited for that. As you start to get information from the Nebraska Association of School Boards, you'll notice the area membership meetings that are in there. And so Danielle or myself, probably Danielle, will be reaching out to you to determine if you're interested in going to those area membership meetings. I highly recommend it, so make note of those. And the last thing I would share with you is the rain has been a great thing for the crops and the grass and all the things we need it to be for, but it's not been such a great thing for construction. I think in the last 10 days we've had 6 weather days where they haven't been able to work. So I'm not really worried about it. I know that they have pumps out there today pumping water out of the places where they're trying to get ready to pour cement. The upper deck level was being poured this afternoon, so they're making good progress on that where the water ran off. So good progress being made. Had a meeting this morning with Pinnacle Bank in regards to where we're at financially. Everything's on track, so feel very good about that as well.
Jason, when do they plan to start pouring parking lots and some of that?
Their goal is to get the entire interior poured, which they believe the goal for that was to be done by the end of July, and then at the end of July start working on pouring those parking lots and lanes like that. So hopefully that stays true. I know we need the rain. The rain's a good thing.
All right. Any other questions for Jason? All right. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education will be August 14th, 2023 at 7 p.m. in the Administration Building. There will not be a Committee of the Whole meeting in July. An agenda for the meeting which shall be kept continually current is readily available for public inspection at the Superintendent's office during normal business hours. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 adjourn.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Your votes, please. We are adjourned. Thank you.